Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I got a great guest coming up later in the program. Guess who we're going to talk to?
Who's that?
Dan Shatner. Dan is with Animal Planet. So for those of you who ever watch Animal Planet television show, or if you've ever watched the Puppy Bowl, he's on the Puppy Bowl. He's not one of the puppies. He's the guy.
For those of you who watch Animal Planet television show.
Animal Planet. It's a television channel. I'm sorry. What did I say?
Television show.
You know, my brain hasn't kicked in yet. I just got here. Anyway, Dan Shatner, we're going to be chatting with you later in the show. Hey, food prices are rising and more people are turning to something your papa likes, Spam. What do I have right here?
A Spam can.
I do. I keep a Spam can on my desk with a bunch of pens in it. It's a great pen holder and conversation piece. So there you go. Hey, the cartoon character Bugs Bunny was given the rank of Honorary Master Sergeant of the U.S. Marine Corps at the end of World War II. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Bugs Bunny is a veteran. Now you know. Couple of fun, interesting things right there. And we've got some special things happening on this date. We'll tell you about that in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Thursday, December the 8th. Today, there's only one thing on the list here. Pretend to be a time traveler day.
Oh, my goodness.
That actually, I think, is kind of funny. You know, you could dress kind of weird and then, walk into a place and say, what year is it? Mm-hmm. Really? 2016. Man, I went that far back, huh? Who's the president right now? I think that'd be kind of funny, honestly. Pretend like you're from the future.
You enjoy yourself. That sounds like a riot.
If you're going to pretend like you were from, would you rather pretend like you're from the future or from the past?
From the future, because you can't mess up from the future. You could say whatever you wanted in the future. From the past, they could catch up and they'd know you were lying.
Just think a few years ago, people could have said, no, it's crazy. In 2016, the Cubs win the World Series. Donald Trump becomes president. People are like, yeah, whatever. You ain't no time traveler. Anyway, today is Pretend to be a Time Traveler Day, so let's go have some fun.
John and Heidi.
This is my favorite time of year. The lights, the fun parties, and the family get-togethers. Many of us have boxes of home videos capturing these memories. But sadly, these memories are fading away because the videotape was not the best format. My friend CJ has a business called Tape It Up Reproductions. They transfer your precious memories to a digital format with the option to enhance the audio and the video to make them look and sound better than ever. His website is tapingitup.com, or you can call or text 412-766-1679.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radios. 37-year-old Peng Shulen has shocked his own doctor and the medical community at large after surviving the entire lower half of his body being amputated. Yeah, that's a horrible accident. He was run over by a truck. He spent about 2 years in a hospital in Shenzhen, it's in the southern part of China, undergone a series of operations to reroute nearly every major organ inside his body. What is amazing, though, is the outlook this guy has. He has now opened his own discount supermarket. He calls it the half-man, half-price store.
That's what I was just going to say. I bet everything's half off. That is an amazing sense of humor.
He
I
does
like
have
that man.
He's now 2'7" tall. He gets around in a wheelchair, gives lectures to inspire others recovering from disabilities. And the hospital vice president, Lin Lu, says he had good care, but his secret is in his cheerfulness. Nothing ever gets him down, end quote. And you know what? I think there's something to that. I see people who, they kind of get down on themselves and things just get worse. When you're kind of, gloomy and negative and you don't think it's going to ever get better, you're right. It's never going to get better. But if you have a positive, cheerful attitude like me, okay, maybe just when I turn the microphone on and sit here and talk, when you have a positive, cheerful attitude, it does seem to help, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
My wife.
I don't know how I can handle all of your positive cheerfulness around this office.
I know.
Just don't know how it works.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's just when the microphones are on. When they're off, I'm not so positive. I'm not so cheerful. Okay, I have my days, and she's upset with me right now because we argued about something right before we went on the air. Not a good plan, by the way. For those
Right
of
before
you,
turning on the mics.
Yeah, for
He's
those
all
of you-
crabby and screaming and yelling, and the mics come on. Hello, good morning.
hey everybody, how's it going? It's John and Heidi. Whoa!
And I'm sitting over here, I'm still steaming. Like,
Yeah.
you jerk.
She's gonna stab me with a pen. Is what she's gonna do. Anyway,
Where's that spam can?
yeah, you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Stories, maybe a father-daughter day kind of story here. Newark, New Jersey, Kevin Winston attempted to teach his daughter a lesson about drinking by calling the police on her when the 16-year-old girl came home drunk and unruly. However, when the police arrived, obviously angry daughter told police that she feared for her safety because her dad stores drugs and weapons in the house.
Oh, boy.
Unfortunately for Dad, she wasn't kidding. She took the cops right to the crawl space above the ceiling where they
Oh,
found
boy.
some semi-automatic weapons and 600 vials of cocaine. So they both got arrested. So there you go. Like
That's
father,
super.
like daughter.
Yeah, I'm
Dad's
wondering
like,
where she learns that bad behavior
I'm
from.
going to teach you a lesson, young lady. Yeah, that didn't work out so hot. Coming up in a bit, we're going to talk about an interesting moment of duh. And your scoop of the day is on the way. And don't forget, we've got a guest from Animal Planet, the channel. I said earlier it was a TV show. It's a TV channel. My brain just wasn't on. We've got a guest. We'll be visiting with Dan Shackner in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Your moment of duh is a really sad moment of duh. Usually they're just, people doing dumb stuff and you kind of chuckle about it. But I'm really
Right.
kind of sad about this one, Heidi.
Okay.
A family in Newport Beach, California suffered $2.3 million in damages to their home when they tried an old Scandinavian tradition of lighting candles on their Christmas tree. Now they're celebrating with another old Scandinavian tradition of sleeping with the livestock to stay warm because they burned their dang house down. $2.3 million.
$2.3 million must have been a darn nice house.
Yeah, I bet it was a beautiful
They could
tree.
afford the higher electric bill, I would think, in a house like
But
that.
they wanted to, they had, a little get together. They wanted to show everybody, hey, look how beautiful this tree is. And we got real
Yeah.
candles and they lit them on fire and woof.
Really bad idea.
Yeah, do not do that. I'm just saying, don't even think about it. So, we've got a fake tree at our house and we got fake lights and fake everything. And I'm fine with that because it's
That's
not going
right.
to burn down. Coming up, we got your scoop of the day. That's on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. 22 billion, Heidi. 22 billion. You know what that is?
No.
The number of letters and packages and cards that the U.S. Postal Service will be delivering between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Wow.
Busiest day is when?
I don't know.
Monday, December the 19th.
How would I know that?
I thought maybe you'd know. I just thought I'd give you a chance to guess. Hey, Bob Dylan has won a Nobel Prize, and he chose icon Patti Smith to accept his prize. I'm not exactly sure why.
I don't know who either of them are.
You know who Bob Dylan is. You just stop it. Heidi. All right, moving right along. Facebook users are supposed to be flagging fake news. They've admitted, finally, at Facebook that there's a problem with fake news and some responsibility to stop the spread of misinformation and propaganda. So the social media giant is rolling out a new feature that shifts the work of flagging false stories to you, the user. Facebook users. Says here, surveys start popping up on below stories on Facebook asking you to evaluate how misleading the article's language is or whether it leaves out key details or features. Doesn't seem to be widespread yet, but you're going to start seeing that more and more and more. And for those of you who go to facebook.com/John and Heidi Show, make sure that you don't flag our fake news. Our fake news is the best fake news on the internet. We don't really have fake news, but I'm going to start making some. I just out of curiosity, I thought, I wonder if fakenews.com is taken, and it is taken, and the guy that has it wants to sell it, and he wants 6 figures for it.
Yeah.
Who's going to buy that website
Somebody
for 6
would.
figures? 6 figures, though?
Somebody would.
I offered him $50 for it. I was like, no way. He's like, I think that I need at least 6 figures. Fakenews.com. Anyway, Muslim-owned restaurant offers free meals on Christmas Day. This is actually kind of neat. It's in London, offering a 3-course meal to homeless and elderly people on Christmas Day. The reason is sweet and simple. They say no one should eat alone. The Sheesh restaurant has put up a poster saying, we are here to sit with you on Christmas Day. I think that's really nice.
That's very nice.
So that, again, is in London. So you got a long way to go if you want to be a part of that. The headline is just really bizarre here. Toe groper robs women. That's the headline.
Okay, I've heard about this guy.
This happened in the Philippines.
Yeah.
He's robbing a number of women over the last couple of weeks, ordering them to remove their shoes so he can touch their toes.
Yeah.
5 women now, aged 21 to 55, have reported being groped by the man who's touching their toes, and he's robbing them, and I don't understand why he wants to do this, but whatever. Best film of 2016. What do you think it is?
I don't know.
Casey Affleck. That's Ben Affleck's bro.
Okay.
Drama Manchester by the Sea.
I've not even heard of that one.
And
Have
it
you?
got more notches of the belt at award season than anything else so far. The National Board Review named it the best film of the year. Affleck earned the Best Actor of the Year title. Amy Adams won Best Actress of the Year for her role in the movie Arrival. So that's right. We're getting to the season where we got all these...
I've not even heard of either of those movies.
We don't watch any... You know what? Here's the thing. How are we supposed to?
But we do too. We DVR some shows.
And we fast forward through all the commercials.
Right, but every time you see anything, like... Okay, we have the ability... Let's clarify. We have the ability to fast forward through the commercials, but you stop for every single commercial. What was that one? What was that
No,
one?
I
And
don't.
you rewind it. What was that one?
Only the ones
and
with
then after
something
you watch
shiny.
it,
Oh, what's
Heidi,
that?
watch this commercial, and you
Here,
rewind
watch
it and make me watch it again. I'm like,
But not for movies.
We have this so we don't have to watch the commercials.
Is that what that's for? Hey, how much is your tooth worth, Heidi?
Which one?
Any one of them. Would you be willing to donate a tooth to the Red Cross?
For how much?
A few years ago, a young lady, a little girl from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, believe it or not, sent her tooth to the Red Cross, and they donated tooth fairy money to hurricane victims. Guess how much was given?
How much?
Because they gave the tooth and they said, hey, we're auctioning this off. $500 is raised.
Aw.
So, hey, you can have any one of my teeth for $500. I'm pretty sure I could replace it for that, can't I?
Not one of my front ones.
Well, you could have. I'll give you this front one for sure.
No, you can't replace a tooth for $500.
You can't? How much
I
does it
don't
cost to
think
replace
so.
a tooth? I'm going to replace mine with chiclets. So that's a Photoshop. Here I come. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Radio advertising works. When it's done right, it works even better. There are many things you can do to get a better response, and shouting sale really isn't the best thing, believe it or not. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? If you're trying to get people to remember your company, consider a jingle. We work with one of the very best jingle companies in the business, and we'd love to use music to help you grow your company. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Today we've got a special guest that it kind of speaks right to my heart. This is a topic that is very near and dear to me. We're talking with David Greenwood. He's got a book called Overcoming Distractions, Thriving with Adult Attention Deficit Disorder. For anybody that listens to this program, you probably know that, yeah, ding, 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 John's got that. Right now, let's say hello to David Greenwood. How are you doing, sir?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. Thank you for writing this book. This is a really nice book. How long did it take to put this thing together?
Well, the actual writing took me about 6 or 7 weeks. I researched people online and found a number of entrepreneurs that were ready to tell their story and help others. It was several months process, but to actually sit down and write the book took me about 6 or 7 weeks.
Now, there are a lot of kids who were diagnosed with ADD that have grown up and are now adults, but there are also adults like myself. I was never diagnosed with ADD, but I can tell you, my wife and I were talking about, John, you need to stay on track. You got to So I went to a physician. We talked. I took it wasn't like a really tough test, but it was a bunch of questions, and I answered yes to every single one of them. So, and some of them it was like, can I say yes twice on that one? So there are also adults who, even though they were never diagnosed with ADD, it's something they have. Is this something that is going to impact people in a positive way, in a negative way? Is there a way that they can kind of learn to live with this and use it to their advantage?
Absolutely. And I think, there's two answers to that question. I think if as long as you take care of yourself and you harness your ADHD, I actually think it can be a blessing rather than a curse. I mean, there's a lot of people, even professionals, the founder of JetBlue, Richard Branson, Michael Phelps, the list goes on of people who have ADHD who have made incredible lives for themselves because they've harnessed what they're good at and they've learned to push off what they're not good at. And I think that's the key. But I think in terms of people being able to be creative, focus on what they're good at. As I mentioned, the book, hyper-focus, trying to get a project done. There are clear advantages, I think, to having an ADHD brain.
What was it that interested you in this particular topic?
I'm 50 years old, and as I say, I'm an ADHD kid, and I say that because you don't grow out of it. And there's a few people I talk to in this process who said, I had ADHD as a kid. And, I got news for you. You still have ADHD. You've grown up, you've matured, you've learned coping skills, but you still have ADHD. And there are a lot of people in the business world that have ADHD. And I wanted to find out what made them successful, how they manage their business, how they use that ADHD brain to their advantage. But I also wanted to find out how they did it. And the book, I like to say, is more of a street smart approach to managing your ADHD. There's no tricks. There's no hacks, so to speak, the new term to this day, where, hack your brain, trick your brain. It's just street smart advice for trying to manage your ADHD and be successful with it.
Now, many of the people that you mentioned are entrepreneurs. Do you see a big correlation between the entrepreneurial mindset in somebody that has this?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people with ADHD have found that they need to go and run their own show. They need to chart their own course. They have ideas that, as long as they can put the proper team around them, can bring them to fruition. I got one guy in the book, this is a great story, where he got through college as an ADHD kid. He wanted to get through college because he just wanted to prove he could finish it. So he did that, but he went off with his girlfriend to Thailand for vacation after that. And when you go to a bar or a pub in the United States, you get pretzels, you get cheese snacks. Well, when you go to Thailand, you get crickets.
Oh.
He brought that idea back here, and now he's breeding almost 1 billion crickets a year, and because they have such high protein, they're using them in protein powder. I mean,
Wow.
That's the idea that this guy brought to market, and now this company's mimicking him and doing the same thing, but he brought that idea back to the States, and he truly credits his ADHD brain with bringing that idea to market. So absolutely, people need to just kind of go with it and find their way and bring an idea to market.
Again, our guest right now, David Greenwood. He is the author of Overcoming Distractions, Thriving with Adult Attention Deficit Disorder. Is this when you think about it, is this a big number of people that have this, like on a percentage? Is it, 5% of Americans, 10%? What would you, do they have statistics on that?
Well, I think the CDC, the latest data that I saw was about 10 or 11% of children, school-age children, have a ADHD diagnosis. So if you take what I just said, that you don't outgrow it, a rough guess would be that 10 or 11% of adults have ADHD. So because you don't outgrow it. So yeah, I mean, that's the number.
Do you know when they started diagnosing that, when that became a thing? Was that 50 years ago, 20 years ago?
Well, I'm 50 years old, and while I just don't think they totally understood it, I think they were definitely aware of what it was called ADD back then. I think even before that it was called hyperkinetic disorder. But I don't think that they, the medical community as well as the education system didn't really know how to deal with it. And kids like me and others in the book were not being taught the way our brains were receiving the message or not receiving the message, and we were punished. So and we were given drugs. I mean, I was on Ritalin until I was in junior high age, but that was the main way that they dealt with it, is they just prescribed drugs. So no, to answer your question, I don't think that it was adequately diagnosed. I think we were almost labeled hyperactive kids back, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
And then along the way, they kind of got a better understanding of what that is. And now with people like you putting out books like this, we're allowing people to realize that, hey, you can harness this. It's not a negative thing. You can turn this into a real positive thing if you utilize it properly. And I appreciate what you're doing to help make people realize that, hey, that's what makes you you.
Absolutely. We're all individuals. We all, whether we have ADHD or not, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And it's just becoming self-aware, learning about yourself, and finding what you enjoy in life. And again, I think whether you have ADHD or not, that is the key. And, not to sound like a Tony Robbins or anything, but you've got to find what kind of stimulates that part of your brain so you enjoy getting up and going to work in the morning. For those with ADHD, it's all the more important because we can actually get bored pretty easy.
I understand that completely. So I certainly know where you're coming from. David, thank you for taking the time to chat with us. The book, Overcoming Distractions, Thriving with Adult Attention Deficit Disorder. It's available right now. Where can we find a copy of this?
You can find a copy on my website, overcomingdistractions.com, and then there's a link to Amazon, so you can buy it right there. Or you can go to your local Barnes & Noble store or other bookstores, and it's right on the shelf. So if you feel like getting in the car and grabbing the book today, you can find it right there.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for your time. I appreciate it a bunch.
Great. Thank you, sir.
Again, our guest today has been author David Greenwood. The book is called Overcoming Distractions, Thriving with Adult Attention Deficit Disorder. This book is available right now. Thank you for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
When is the last time you changed the air filter on your furnace? Now, don't be embarrassed. That happens to a bunch of us. The furnace filter should be changed often. This will help your heating and cooling system run more efficiently, and it'll even extend the life of your system. Now, there's an easy way to make it happen. Filter Easy, a new subscription service that delivers your size filter right to your door on the schedule you choose. It's easy. Filter Easy. One less thing to worry about. Learn about a special offer available now at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A hummingbird weighs less than a penny.
Really?
Hummingbirds, yeah, they're so light, they weigh less than a penny.
Pretty. I love hummingbirds.
Your grandmother had like a hummingbird feeder or something, didn't she?
Yeah.
I wonder, I don't know, we'll have to see if that's something that we could do around here. A fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Alexander Graham Bell, inventor of the telephone, was originally an instructor for deaf children. He invented the telephone to help his deaf wife and his deaf mother to hear. That's what he was working on. And it turned into the telephone. I'm like, oh, well, works for this too.
Fun fact for you, John.
What's that, Heidi?
Did you know they don't have hummingbirds in England?
They don't?
They do not.
Why? Because they all know the words they don't need to hum? No, that's not.
No, they don't. I was at the zoo with my friend from England, and she saw a hummingbird. She's like, what is that?
Oh, wow.
I was like, are you kidding? It's a hummingbird.
Hummingbird. All right. And our final fun fact for you,
What's that,
Heidi.
John?
A cow can give about 100 quarts of milk per week. So drink all you want, they'll make more. Coming up, we're going to talk about tips to avoid packing on holiday pounds. I need that.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to radiolottopool.com and join today. Again, that website is radiolottopool.com.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday. You know, this time of year, we got all kinds of stuff like Christmas parties and get-togethers, and you walk into businesses and they got treats out for you, and people making cookies and people making all kinds of stuff like eggnog and all this delicious goodness all around us. It's easy to gain some weight. Here are some tips, 10 of them, suggestions on how you can help avoid packing on the pounds during the holidays. This is from nutritional and health expert Dr. James D. Christoke. First of all, he says, get plenty of sleep. Being tired often triggers eating. I know that one for sure. Drink plenty of water. That's another one. Limit your intake of proteins. Keep stress levels down. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. Curb appetite by loading up on good carbs. Avoid bad carbs like high-starch potatoes and breads and dessert. This guy hates us, doesn't he? I mean, all this stuff is so hard.
I think they should rename them. The good carbs should be the bad carbs, and the bad carbs should be the good carbs.
There you go. Vinegar reduces the body's absorption of bad carbs, so use a wide variety of vinegar with olive oils for salad dressings. Next, stay away from foods with hydrogenated oils and the sweetener aspartame. Next, choose foods with good fats like soybeans and avocados and nuts and seeds. And then the final of the 10 tips that sound awful, but they're tips to help you keep from packing on the pounds at the holidays. Keep in touch with a pal who has a similar diet and health goals. That'll help you boost your willpower during the holidays. You go, hey, I might not have done great, but I did better than fatty old John over there. I honestly have not stepped on the scale recently, but I got a feeling that I packed on some pounds here over the last week or two. I just feel like I have. I don't know. We had some story that said you're supposed to weigh yourself every day. And when I was doing that, I was like, wow, I've actually been losing weight for a week now, almost every day. Because it was this conscious thing. And then I haven't been on there. So I saw the scale laughing at me the other day. I was like, you just go away. Coming up in a bit, we got some more fun stuff from Pennsylvania. We're going to tell you about a weird story in a bit.
John and Heidi.
This is my favorite time of year. The lights, the fun parties, and the family get-togethers. Many of us have boxes of home videos capturing these memories. But sadly, these memories are fading away because the videotape was not the best format. My friend CJ has a business called Tape It Up Reproductions. They transfer your precious memories to a digital format with the option to enhance the audio and the video to make them look and sound better than ever. His website is tapingitup.com, or you can call or text 412-766-1679.
John and Heidi.
Remember back when we were kids, there was a commercial, Don't Squeeze the Charmin. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Mr. Whipple.
Yeah. This dude right here, him and Mr. Whipple would have gotten along fine. Samuel Feldman has an infatuation with squeezing, no, not the Charmin, but loaves of bread, and he was poking holes in cookie wrappers? What is wrong with this guy? He was convicted of 2 counts of criminal mischief. A surveillance tape was evidence. Judge David Heckler placed him on 6 months probation, ordered him to pay $1,000 to the stores for damaged packages. He has acknowledged having touched too many bundles, but says that he did not mean to hurt them. I'm so sorry. I love the bread. It's so squishy and soft.
Our son used to do that. Every time we took him to the store, he would pick up a loaf of bread and squeeze it and smell it.
It's like an accordion. I'm like, would you put that down? Leave it alone, man. So there you go.
It must just be a thing.
No. Samuel Feldman had $1,000 in restitution. So Troy, you better beware. I don't
think he does that anymore.
Yeah, I think he was just a phase.
He was little.
Don't all kids go through that phase? All kids like Troy and Samuel Feldman. Coming up, we've got eye doctors in the news. We're going to talk about this one too.
John and Heidi.
Heidi, this story says eye doctors may be a thing of the past. I don't think that's the case, though.
I did not see that coming.
An engineer saved his own sight when he ran a check on an optical scanner that he was installing. After testing the device on himself, Eric Manes discovered he had a torn retina.
Oh.
He said a routine check involved taking an image of his own eye to ensure all of the equipment settings were correct. Normally, my retinal image is healthy, he said, but on this occasion, I noticed an area of discoloration had appeared. I had no visual disturbances and was not aware of any injury to my eye, but I do have a great deal of experience looking at normal images of eyes. Experts looked at the image taken by the machine and said, hey, there's a tear in your eye. So causes retina to detach, could have led to blindness.
Whoa.
He underwent laser surgery and popped that sucker back in. So I don't think that the headline was right.
I wouldn't have any idea what I was looking at if I saw a picture of an eye.
Yeah. Like, what's that? Is that a giant jelly bean? What is that?
I wouldn't know what that was.
Looks like a marshmallow or something. I don't know what it is. So, yeah,
it would
this
not
dude,
be helpful to me at all.
Me neither. Coming up, message in a bottle. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
This time of year, we celebrate with family and friends.
And sometimes that involves drinking.
If you're going to be celebrating, please have a designated driver.
I lost my cousins to a drunk driver. They were only 8 and 12 years old.
Their lives were cut short because the driver was drunk and made a terrible choice.
Make good choices. Have a designated driver.
If you or a loved one has a problem with drugs or alcohol, now may be a great time for the gift of sobriety.
You can call Keystone Treatment Center at 844-204-1055.
That's toll-free, 844-204-1055.
John and Heidi.
A letter sent more than 2 decades earlier has finally been answered. Don't blame the post office for this one, though, because this never made it to the post office. Instead, it was a message in a bottle. First of all, let's pause right there. Heidi, have you ever done the whole message in the bottle thing? We've talked about this before, haven't we?
Yes, we've talked about
And
this. No, I've
you
not.
never. I did try that. It didn't work out for me.
I lived on a lake. It wouldn't have gone very far.
I was doing it at a river, so it's like float downstream, meet some folks from up the way. Hey, 2 Connecticut girls tossed a bottle into the Nantucket Sound from a ferry boat 20 years ago. Fisherman Michael Wall found it on a beach in Ireland while he was walking his puppy dog. So from Nantucket to Ireland. He responded to the note with a letter of his own addressing to Amy Turano Thurber and Valerie Wozniak. They've long since moved away from their childhood
Did
homes.
he respond by throwing it right back in the water? See
Yes.
if it would go back to
That's
them?
how I got back.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing. No. They since have moved, but their parents still lived at the same addresses, thank goodness. Wozniak says she was shocked when her mother called and read the fisherman's letter to her. She says someday they hope to meet the man who found the message in the bottle. Here's the thing. Do you really want to meet the guy? Because we was like, hey, so you found my garbage on your beach,
That'd
huh?
be extremely awkward. What an awkward
So-
experience.
That's kind of all we really have to talk about. It was a long trip to get to Ireland. That's all, really.
Have a nice day.
Here's some money for that stamp. Mine was free. I just threw some garbage in the ocean, see? I don't know. What would you know, it's kind of cool that he found the bottle, but what else would you have to talk about?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
So, good luck on the meeting. It's going to be really awkward, I think. I don't know. Coming up, we've got some good news. That's on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I think this is really kind of a cool story. Somebody designed a coat that doubles as a sleeping bag to keep homeless people warm in the winter.
Oh, that's cool.
That is very cool, and they make these in the state of Michigan, and guess who makes them? People that are homeless, formerly homeless.
Oh, like a shelter?
Yeah, so what they did, this lady that came up with the idea, I've got a video, and it's really hard because I don't have a story here, and if I click play on the video, it's going to make a bunch of noise, so I'll just tell you what I heard, and then if you want to watch the video, I have it at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. But it's a really cool story about this young lady that came up with this idea, and the way that this works, it's just a really big coat,
Right.
and it's a nice warm coat, but she noticed that there were people that were sleeping on the streets, and they looked very cold. So what she did is she designed this sleeping bag that is actually a coat that folds out into a sleeping bag. So inside the back of the coat, like you take it off, and there's a little flap that kind of lays down that you put your feet into that pouch. And then you zip up, you zip up the coat, and it's got a nice hood. And then you actually take the arms, when you're not using it as a coat, the arms get pulled inside and they get turned into a pillow. So you get a nice little pillow inside. You got the hood. You got it's really a neat idea.
That's brilliant.
And then when you're not utilizing it as a coat or a sleeping bag, it actually turns into a nice little thing that you use. The sleeves go around and it turns into a little carry
how do
case.
these homeless people afford one of these fancy
They
sleeping
give
bag
them away, I
coats?
believe.
How does she afford to make them?
Probably from donations from people like you. I don't know. I don't know. I watched the video, but it didn't say, hey, we want your money, so I'm not sure. But I think it's a cool idea. And if, there are people that are listening and saying, hey, I'd like to know more about this, the video is on our Facebook page. So I'll tell you how to get that here in a second. But again, I don't know all of the answers. I don't even know some of the answers. I told you everything I know, and that's not
There you
much.
go.
Not very helpful on this one, am I?
Not really.
Usually,
but it's a good idea.
Usually there's a story. This was just a video, but I shared it at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Thursday.